Hello, my friends. This is Nanny from Nanny and the Moose. Happy Sunday. The video today is going to be one that I'm calling Deja Vu, Empty Nesting Again. Now, we all know that term, empty nesting, and usually it occurs when most of us are in maybe our late 40s or 50s, or even maybe early 60s, depending on when the children leave the nest. Now that can be for marriage, or going out on their own for their own careers, or it can be going off to college, which is what happened to me for our very last child, Colleen, number 6. I remember it so vividly. Colleen was getting ready to go to college. The other children, most of them at that point, were married, except Mikey. We had the first 4 children in about the first 5, maybe 5.5 years of our marriage. We wanted to do a whole bunch all at once. We were very blessed in that this was happening just the way we wanted. But then we moved to Scotland, where the youngest of the 4, the first 4, was about 18 months old. And we decided maybe while we were over there, we would concentrate on those 4 children, which we did. Some were starting school, and I just wanted to savor the time with them for a while. We were over there almost 3 years, had a wonderful time with the children, traveling and wonderful experiences with the wonderful Scots. And then it was time to come home, and we lived back east for a year, and then Moose was transferred to California, first to San Francisco for a while, and then we wound up in Southern California. And we decided, wow, we better get busy again. By that time, I think we were mid-30s. So we had Mikey and Colleen, and they're 18 months apart. Best thing we ever did, by the way. So the family grew up, and we had a house full of children, not only our own, but friends there for supper, staying overnight, there all the time. And life was full with dancing lessons and sports and running here and there and traveling, and it was great. And then all of a sudden, it was 1994. Everybody was out of the house except Mikey and Colleen. Mikey had started college and was in college, coming home quite a bit. Meanwhile, Moose had an opportunity in another state to start a business, a consulting business. So that meant we had to leave the home. Now you can imagine that was not something I was too excited about, but we did. And meanwhile, Colleen was registered to go to school fairly nearby, about 2 hours away. Well, I sort of panicked to think that we would be alone, not near all the other children, who, thank God, were all locally married and within distance of coming over whenever they wanted to the house. So I had a talk with Colleen. Moose and I both did. And we asked her if she wouldn't consider going to college in the state that we were moving to, which was Nevada. So she thought about it, and we did, and she was accepted in a local college there in a university, which was going to be fairly close to where we were going to be living, probably 10 minutes away. Well, I was thrilled with that. However, when I realized that Colleen was going off to college, I started to feel this is our last child. She's going off to college. Oh my gosh, Is she prepared? Have I prepared her? Have I done everything that I can mother to prepare this child to be out in the big world. And things ran through my head like, oh, I don't think I told Colleen. I didn't teach Colleen how to sew. I did teach the other two girls, but I don't think she knows how to sew on a sewing machine. I don't know why that popped in my head. That was so important. Or we didn't do this, or we didn't do that. In reality, cook. Maybe that was another one. Moose just reminded me, cook. I was going through, I would say, withdrawals. Really, it was a real emotional experience. Now, I know a lot of my viewers are in that age group. Believe it or not, even though we're much, much older now, we have a lot of women in their 50s and early 60s. We even have women in their late 40s watching us. And I know you're going through this because it's a real emotion, right, ladies? Not just when they're going off to be married, but when they go off to college fairly far away. So what happened was we moved out of our family home, and I think our oldest son, Billy, and his wife and children moved in. They were going to live in it for a while. So we never really did sell our home until probably 10 years later. Either Billy and his family or our daughter Dub and her 5 children and husband were living there. But when we would come home to see the rest of the family, and that was another problem I was suffering, that I wasn't seeing all the children and all the grandchildren by that time too. We had quite a number of grandchildren, and that bothered me. I was very homesick for that. So my state of mind was really not the greatest. But since we lived probably 15 minutes from the university that Colleen was in, and she was boarding, she had a lovely roommate who are still friends, close friends to this day. And I would call her and find out how she was doing every day. And, oh, why not meet me for lunch, maybe? Meet me for lunch today, Colleen? She was so wonderful about tending to her mother. I think she knew what I was going through. Now, I hope, ladies, you're thinking back on your experiences. Maybe you're experiencing this now. It's quite an emotion, isn't it? She was so good about giving me time, and I don't know how she did it. Just the fact that she probably understood what I was going through. And that happened with me for at least 6 or 7 months until I knew that she was there still and that I could relax a little bit. Now, the other problem that I had was missing all these other children who were home and married. Mikey would come from his college and spend weekends with us. And after a while, when he had a girlfriend, he would bring the gal, and that was fun. And we had great weekends with Colleen and Mikey in Nevada. But then they would leave and go back to their respective universities again. But the problem of being far away from all the other children was a real problem. Many's the time Friday night, I was teaching school by this point. I also started off dabbling in real estate there because I did have a real estate career for 10 years in between teaching and having babies too. But over there, because I was missing grandchildren and children, I decided I wanted to be back in the classroom with young children again. So I started substituting, and it was every day. I was called every day. And then there were certain schools that were my favorites, or I was their favorite. And I was asked several times to permanently please teach. Finally, I decided that I would teach. And I had a 3rd grade, which was a great grade for me. I always loved teaching kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, or 3rd. So that helped me somewhat because I was with children all day long. But on Friday night, I was ready to make that 4-hour drive home. Now, Moose was too, but I don't think his emotions were as fragile as mine were. And we would be home on the weekends, and we would be staying in our home in a guest bedroom upstairs with the children, not in the main bedroom, because Billy and his wife were in the main bedroom because they were the occupants of our home, which was also an interesting feeling. But it was so hard to see all these children and all these grandchildren in a matter of 2 days. Saturday, we always had to start back by 12 or 1 o'clock on Sunday to beat the traffic going back. So this became kind of a rat race. And I was always crying in the car on the way back to Nevada because I felt I didn't have enough time with this one or that one. It started to get a little emotional, so I'm going to stop. Okay, I'm back. Well, I guess that brings us to Deja Vu, Empty Nesting, Part 2. And that's where I am right now. That little emotional outburst, thinking back on all that, has happened to me a little bit right now. And I think what has thrown me into this is the fact that last year of COVID, the family connections as we were used to, with all these wonderful gatherings at Christmas and Thanksgiving and kissing and hugging and seeing sons and daughters and grandchildren all the time, just didn't happen during that time for safety purposes, obviously. So that's what happened to me with empty nesting. I went through it all over again, and obviously from my little emotional outburst, it's still going on. I had hoped that things were easing up, and they were, and now I'm going to have to be careful again. And what we were planning a week or two ago, I was talking to my daughter Dub, who, by the way, is doing fine on her total hip replacement surgery. It's almost 2 weeks and she's doing fine. Her physical training is now physical therapy is now being transferred to, I guess she goes now off to the hospital or somewhere to have that 3 times a week. Up to now, they've been coming to the home, but thank you for asking, all of you that were inquiring. She's doing fine. So we were talking on the phone last week, and I was trying to tell her, in between my trying to hold back my tears, that Moosey and I were feeling a little bit disconnected from everything. It wasn't anybody's fault. It's just that we had all fallen into this habit of not having get-togethers and of not seeing each other. So she is a wonderful daughter. She evidently talked to a few of the other kids, and they decided, okay, she was going to have the Christmas Eve daytime buffet where the whole family, and she does this every year, and all 53 of us gather and we play this steal the gifts, and we everybody brings a gift, something from their home, so they don't have to spend a lot of money, something they don't want. We put it on tables, we pick numbers, and we pick a gift, and then people can steal. We have a wonderful buffet of foods that everyone brings, and then by 2-3 o'clock, everyone can go home and be in their own homes with their children. And we go to church, Christmas Eve Mass at 4 in the afternoon. And then Christmas, we can pop in and out of each other's houses. But at least we've spent quality time as a whole family. And Colleen always has the big Thanksgiving dinner at her home where the whole family's there. So everybody decided that, okay, this year now, with things improving, we're going to be doing all these things again. Bridget, our oldest granddaughter, was planning, and still is, by the way. We don't know where we are on this COVID thing. And she is planning a Labor Day. We've always done this golden spoon competition of hors d'oeuvres, and everybody brings an hors d'oeuvre and we taste, and it's a fun summer day. It's sort of the end of the summer, and Bridget is planning that. So here we are. We're supposed to be going up to Idaho in September to see Billy and spend time up there in his wonderful ranch on the Clearwater River. And my spirits have been up. Whether they're falling again, I don't know. But tell me about your experiences of empty nesting, whether they're first time empty nesting with children going off to college, and all of a sudden what you're doing with your time is changing. Life is different. You're changing your daily regiment. Maybe your relationship with your husband can become closer. Maybe it goes the other way, and these things happen. I've read about it. A little bit of depression might set in, or maybe you're weathering it fine. Tell me, let me know what you're feeling. Or when the children go off and be married and they're all gone permanently. Hopefully you're still seeing everyone and everything is fine, but I'm sure you have those emotions, moms, grandmas, whatever we are by now, right? So I'm going to end this talk right now to just let you know that I'm okay. I'm very emotional, and you see that. But those things have gone on in the past with me. They're very natural, and they're still going on. So enough of that. So my second topic that I do want to discuss now, and I don't want to make this up. I always say this, and then I blabber on, as Moo says. I don't want to make this too long a video. A lot of people like that 20-minute video or shorter. Tell me if that's what you prefer too, because sometimes I do get into the 25, 26-minute range too. Time seems to go fast when I'm blabbering on. Let me consult my notes now, because what I've done is I've gone back through the last couple of days of comments on the videos that you've made, because I asked the question, what would you like to see? I said, let's talk about a Q&A. But I realize it's not really a Q&A, because a Q&A is when I write down the question that you asked and then I answer it in 1 or 2 sentences. Being me, I don't think that's going to happen. It might turn into a video, or maybe I can do a couple of topics in one video. So I think that's where we're headed. I have so many ideas for wonderful videos because of you. And thank you all so much. I've thought about a lot of these myself too. It's just I haven't gotten around to them. But let me tell you some of the videos. Now, a lot of people were asking about parenting advice, talking about advice on aging. How are you doing? I think I've talked a lot about that. Maybe if you go back through some of our other videos, I might have discussed some of these things. Maybe these were the new people. The top 10 fears of aging adults. I did a video on that. I did a couple of videos on top 20 things that will make your life easier as you age. One on safety measures, top 10 safety measures that will make your life safer. So go back through those. We also did a 60th wedding anniversary video 1 year ago, as our anniversary was in July. We just celebrated our 61st anniversary. And that was, I think, a 30-minute video going from, it actually was our anniversary day. It was during COVID, so we had to celebrate all by ourselves, which was fine. The kids planned a big Zoom day and they all called and sang and whatever. But in that video, we talked all about our marriage from the day we were married, all through all the places we lived and the children and growing up and the traditions we had. Go back and see that one. It's called Secrets of Reaching a 60th Wedding Anniversary. And you might have some of your questions answered in that. A lot of people were interested in my teaching. And as I've said, I've done a lot of things in my life My mind is always going. I'm very active that way. And I've had the shop, Romancing the Home, a Victorian-inspired shop. A lot of you want to know more about that. And I do have, I've made portfolios of all these things. So I don't have a lot of video, but I have a lot of clips of the Romancing the Home days, of the bed linens and the Austrian curtains, and how we dress, my daughters and daughter-in-laws and I. And even Mikey helped sell lacy curtains during the week at night when he was in high school. Oh, I think it was in junior high when he and Colleen were helping me with the shop. And the catalog. Maybe I'll show you our catalog where all the grandkids were modeling the aprons and the christening gowns, and it was a great time. So I'll do some of that, the Victorian shop. Teaching is and always will be my first love, and I taught in a lot of states where we lived and taught a lot of children from disadvantaged to children with learning differences, special ed, English language learners, and I have wonderful stories. And I've always said that if I ever make it to heaven, here I go, getting emotional again, but it will be because of my teaching days and what I felt I gave these children. So, I'd like to talk about my teaching because I have wonderful stories of children and places where I've taught. You want to see Moosey actually painting, and he is in the middle of one of his pictures right now that he's doing. As you know, he does this paint by numbers, and he's been doing this for grandchildren and children for about a year now. It's a wonderful hobby for him. So that will be another one. Our hobbies. My hobbies, I have so many. I love to sew. My mother taught me when I was 7 years old, and I've probably made just about everything in the world you can think of. I made 14 capes when we all went to Ireland, black wool capes with plaid linings for all the girls and grandchildren in our family, 14 of them. Looked like the nannies of Ireland when we were over there and all of us were walking down to the village. They had hoods and everything. They were great. I love to paint. I do paint regular, not paint by numbers. I've done ceramic painting. I love to craft. So we'll do some videos on that. I am a collector. I love stuff. As you can see, we've collected a lot of things from all over the world, and Moosey came up with a wonderful idea to talk about some of the interesting things. For instance, like this grandfather clock from 1776. There's a story behind that. And my brass candlesticks and everything, where they came from and how they work, the push-up, when the candles went down. In the days when they had no electricity, there'd be a thing on the bottom of every candlestick, the really old ones. And you would push them up and the candle would rise up so that it wouldn't go out and leak down on the brass candlesticks. Some interesting stories. You actually asked about everything. Where did we live, about all our travels, and I'm going to do videos about all these wonderful things. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all these ideas. Look what I have listed down, things that you have asked. So I can't mention all of these because then it will be too long a video. And I will be doing videos on these. Moose says I'm repeating myself. So he's always here, aren't you, Moose?
Mentally.
Mentally, anyway. Oh, he's the guy that tells me what to get rid of and what not to get rid of. Not always. I do have a mind of my own too. So, there I go. Aren't you going to say something when I say that so?
I don't know what you want me to get rid of.
Not me, that's for sure.
Okay.
So, that means I'm getting to the end of my video, as Moo says. Thank you so much for watching. If you are suffering from empty nest syndrome, either for the first time or for the second time as a grandma, let me know and how you're feeling. I hope you didn't get too deeply into it because we can recover from all this. We really can. I love you all. Thank you for all your thumbs up. Thank you for all the new people that have subscribed and are part of our family. Take good care of yourselves until the next video, and I will see you soon. God bless us all. Bye for now.